Hello, and welcome back to the Geek on My Sleeve channel, where we learn how to human one book at a time. This week is number 136, Awaken Online, Retribution by Travis Bagwell. Man, we have been trying to get to this for a minute. Short version is Life Doesn't Play Fair. And yeah, here we are.
And here we are. Appreciate everybody's patience on our unintentional hiatus. You can catch some of the cliff notes over on our Twitter. And yeah, that said, I am glad to be playing back in Awaken online landscape. Um, this is considered a side quest, a 2.5. We pretty much get to hang out with Riley, and I've kind of grown to like the idea of the side quests or the expansions. I might be misremembering, but with the Completionist Chronicles, I remember being pretty critical of Rexus initially, and then that kind of grew on me. I wanted to spend more time on the main storyline, but this was kind of nice getting to go and just follow Riley and see her character fleshed out some more, see some more of the world. What are your feelings on that, Pete?
So I enjoy the side quests just because it makes it feel more real. Where a lot of isekais, it's like, hey, here's our main guy, and that's all that there is. But for Awaken Online in particular, it's designed to be a MMO or whatever their verbiage is for their dive system
Mm-hmm.
that involves everybody else. As well as this one did a good job really getting us to love the NPCs and like NPCs that have been around for a while so they have more experience on top of just all the possible causal connections.
Yeah, I kind of wish I had time to go back through book one and book two. Uh, in this series, it's kind of hard to decipher NPCs from player characters. It's almost like you just assume they're NPCs unless they call them out as being an actual player, but they're very human in their own right, as well as just Awaken Online. It asks a lot of those questions about what all the AI is doing in the background. And again, I wish I went through books one and two before this stream, but going from memory, the beta, and I guess that's something I didn't quite truly grasp on this book. But in the first two, we get perspective of the programmers as well as the AI. Right, this one was just Riley, um, and in the beta, you had individuals kind of having certain challenges. I believe one of the examples was like a woman getting over the loss of a child or something like that, and the AI and the story quests kind of going and help um, guide them to just overall be happier, more satisfied with their life. And it didn't quite come out and point to it, but it was interesting seeing just Riley deal with her out of game experiences and how much they kind of overlapped and kind of guided her to be more, trying to think of the right words, assertive, kind of take charge of the situation.
Yeah, we that's one of the things that has been a staple with Jason for him going through something and then the game trying to find a way to implement it to help them better themselves.
Right, right. And we really don't get to see a whole lot of Jason besides, was it Frank or whatever that kind of updates her towards the end?
We had a couple snapshots throughout it, like at the beginning. It was like, oh, I wonder where Jason's at, and then she got the message, and it was like, oh, hey, some real world stuff. Don't worry. It's like, well, that makes me worry. And then, have you heard anything? No. And then Frank, like at the very end, he finally went and was detained for all the stuff going on.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, shorter book, a lot of fun. Enjoyed getting some of the backstory, getting to play with some new characters, kind of see their interactions with everything, um, which was nice. In other series, it kind of gets tiresome just to seeing like our OP character getting all the crazy buffs or game kind of bending to them. We got to see some of our new party get some of the fun and benefits from just different quests and helping her out. Our tank ended up getting like an earth spell, which was kind of cool. Um,
So that's one thing this book did well that I truly enjoy is it's not the classical or typical archetypes for a lot of characters, but the fact that she received a bow that took her on a quest line that then she had to essentially figure out the lore between who this person was, and we got backstory on all of it, and then because she was working closely with people, she was able to unlock the class.
right.
Same thing happened with Jason for the starts with an M, it's like Marie or something for the Gravekeeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, Sorry, I'm skimming through. There's actually some decent online stuff, which is nice about Awaken Online. Um, I also enjoyed the fact that we got to learn a little bit more about Jerry in this book, and just seeing kind of like his relation to everybody, which was kind of cool. Um, he,
I I don't know. It seemed a little hard to track for some of it. I don't know. Maybe there's one point where it's like, oh yeah, and I bet it was Jerry, and it's like, wait, what?
yeah,
But after going through it again, it all made sense.
yeah. It was subtle nods, but pretty much we end up going to Jerry's hometown, and he knew about Lily, and it sounds like he kind of followed Lily. Jerry also guided them in the previous book to Lily's death, or the dungeon with the cultist and everything, as well as he knew. Trying to think here. Was it the
Or
oh
it was all the way around. He knew. Oh, I think it starts with another M, but the person who's running the or yeah, it was his hometown. He knew all about him for the orphan person, the band or the leader of the rogue guild people.
right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Any particular place you want to jump in on the story? Because I could just bounce all over the place.
Yeah, so it was also kind of a nice change in pace for the quest, that it was more of a mystery than it was a kill quest, or than it was a other typical, where as far as like the book's concerned, it kind of lowered a bit of the rereadability because now that you can see all the points. Yeah.
Yeah. I can appreciate that though. When rereading it, the subtle foreshadowing seems a little bit more obvious. But it was fun because Jason's personality is very much, careful, strategic planning. And here Riley kind of had to step up a little bit on her own and think through the different challenges, as well as just kind of come to appreciate Jason's leadership on things, which was nice. Um, I enjoyed the party mechanics, which also allowed us to see a little bit more of the different magic, right? Like the air type with luck, and getting to see kind of the different guilds. Like we got to see the fire guild and how they're pretty much always just fighting, um, more aggressive power. The air guild, we don't get to see it directly, but we get to hear about it from Lucas, where they're pretty much just like, hey, here's a coin, flip it. Um, and that kind of makes me wonder a little bit too, because we know that the first flip, he kind of used it as a way to get his way, because his new girlfriend, oh, I believe it's Emma, was very kind of like pushy. Um, so we know that Lucas used kind of like a sleight of hand to make the vote go the way he wanted to. But it kind of makes me wonder how much of that quote unquote luck is truly random number generator, and how much of that luck is the AI using those opportunities to kind of nudge things in the direction it wants, right? Because we know that the AI is very sophisticated. But if you have all these air mages relying on things to chance, if it's not a pure random number generator and the AI kind of using those as opportunities to pull strings, um, that kind of changes things.
My understanding of the air was it's supposed to be happiness in the core of living in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So the coin was more just for in case of indecision, but I didn't think luck was relevant.
Well, they talk about gambling, and everything is how the air mages kind of like increase their stuff. So if gambling doesn't rely on luck, I don't know what does. But yeah, yeah. And then we also got to see the Earth Temple, which they're supposed to be very level-headed, um, you know, self-aware. Yet we had a very moody master that put them through that really intense trial for Ethan, our warrior tank, um, which I thought was kind of fun, and that's what I was talking a bit about earlier. That he ended up getting further than most of their entry level and journeyman type Earth mages. So it's nice to see other characters do well and not just the stars of the show. Be interesting to see if we see these three later on in other books.
Honestly, like the players, I was kind of meh. They didn't really stand out. They were kind of blah. But the alchemist we brought, I'm excited to see
Right.
what he's going to be able to make. I'm probably going to be disappointed that he needs people of select commander types to charge his stuff, and we don't have any. What we have is dark mana.
Don't have many yet, and we don't just have dark mana. Doesn't Frank have like a little bit of everything? That's why he was able to go with his newer class, because he has like a little bit of all the elements.
Is that technically into 3 or is that 2? I don't know, but yeah, I guess that's true. He has it.
Well, he got it from the cultists that they went and dealt with.
Okay, yeah, it was the end of 2.
Yeah, yeah. So I think he has the four primary elements, and then it's dark and light.
Yeah, but honestly, I was more excited to see what the NPCs are doing for Cecil for the maid, or not the maids, the rogue that had the backing and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious to see what happens with her, how she pops up again. I'm curious to see the spat with Jerry and Marie or whoever.
Tell him he's a dead man.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of fun. Get a dad joke in there.
Yeah, that was some good stuff. And then, oh, the fact of the matter is, I think at the beginning, I guess that's a different city. When the first little village or whatnot they get to, Riley's like, oh yeah, he was tasked with taking this over for the Twilight Throne or for the Dark or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So we got a handful of combat, probably not as much as you'd like, but we got to see some combat with the undead outcasts early on, shortly after Riley meets up with Ethan, Lucas, and Emma. So that's something that I feel the author does pretty well is the group combat. Um, we then had our duel with the fire mage. We had, I feel like there was some like minor combat scenes, maybe not really, throughout the city. And then we had that epic chase through the library, which I thought was interesting.
The library makes me think of another series of Shadowcroft Academy for Dungeons, because their library is essentially a dungeon, and it's a separate main for Dungeon 4 style, but that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Um, the library was pretty cool. Getting to see those paper golems. Um, that kind of made me think a little bit of the Completionist Chronicle, the other series that James A. Hunter does, right? Just little bibliomancer golem, um, paper dragon, and whatnot. Um, yeah. Oh, and before that, we also had the combat of where the players jump them. Um, when Emma pretty much sold them out, which the way that things were going, I was kind of waiting for something like this to happen because we know the bounty was a pretty big deal, and Emma kept getting jealous of Riley. Um, wasn't really clear why, but I guess Emma wasn't too secure in her and Lucas's newly budding relationship. Um, but yeah, to have that betrayal there. And I felt it's, yeah, with a lot of those interactions, if they don't feel genuine, it kind of impacts the immersion there. But I felt the way the author handled that was pretty well. Like clearly the players were upset. Um, Riley very much so, and then Lucas relying on the coin for how he handled it. Um, yeah, and I think it was the NPCs that pretty much saved the day there, right? The rogue group.
Yep, yep. And I guess so. Comment on the betrayal. The book, I would say, is geared more towards like a younger audience for some of them.
I could see that.
Yeah.
It kind of leaves you with more of a YA feel.
Like the situations are real, but the main character is, not even out of high school, and the party we run into is, freshmen in college or whatnot. So it's
I want to say that a general rule is like whatever age the main character is, you're supposed to subtract a couple years. So the fact that the main characters are like just on the verge of adulthood, 17, 18. So, using those metrics, it'd be, yeah, high schoolers, 15, 16-year olds. Um,
or not that the book wasn't good, just some of the situations and trials were, I don't know, it's
yeah, I can see that. And it can't be an easy decision when writing. Like, if you go too mature, you kind of eliminate a demographic willing to read it versus, we read a lot of YA books. So that doesn't really stop us from enjoying it. Um, but yeah, I guess I could see where you're coming from on that. I enjoyed the city and how they pretty much use like mana donations to keep everything running. I thought that was some clever architecture. It's one of those things that kind of make me wonder when you get into different fantasy scenarios. It's like, okay, this seems kind of futuristic. How does this really work? So to kind of explain it away through the different type of manas to power things, felt that was pretty clever. I guess the big finale with the cultist. Um, I understand why it went down the way it did, but perhaps I was thinking that there'd be a bit more to it than, oh, we found them. Now let's have a big boss battle. And that was kind of the end of the quest, right? After blowing a hole in the library and having our boss battle. Though I'm trying to think, what's her new class again? I need to check my notes. Um,
I
hmm,
can't remember specifically, but I did remember that it fits the theme. It fits the dark theme. She's essentially an agility health based archer.
yeah. She no longer uses mana. It's all based off her constitution, which she did get a buff for. Um, I thought that was kind of cool how like the Dark One intervened and she was able to actually kind of have that interaction and get some closure there for Lily, and then join. Does Valkyrie sound right? Or am I misremembering?
Something Fury.
Okay. It might just be a Fury.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, anyway, let us know in the comments. You guys know how we are with our memory. Um, but yeah. Oh, another fight scene I forgot about was her confrontation with the girls in real life.
Yeah, and that's something that I felt the book did a good job kind of bringing us through the scenario. We knew she upset Alex and his sway in the school, his influence.
Mm-hmm.
I, yeah. then her conversation with the parents and how she didn't think it was going to happen like that. But the reality is, we frequently manipulate the stats to convey the message that we want, or based off of the environment or the setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yep. There we go. Archer slash Fury is her class.
Yeah, it's just an extra resource to deal with, or
Mm-hmm.
one less resource. One resource has more value.
Mm-hmm. I know there's a handful of other side quests, but it'd be fun to get a little side quest for Frank as well. He's a character I enjoy a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. In this part of the story, he hasn't really. It's okay. It's kind of like the end of two, where he starts to come into his own because he plays a frontline person, but he's not enjoying the pain feedback. So
Right. What other fun scenes did you enjoy from this book? It unfortunately went pretty quick.
oh, the plague, the it's kind of like a twist on heart on your sleeve because the mana is whatever her affinity is, which is one of the base human elements, and to wear your heart on your sleeve or to cry crimson tears.
Yeah. Yeah. The book itself is only 8.5 hours long. Um, and it makes sense because in the audio book, the author Travis does a foreword pretty much explaining that he was just kind of to flesh out some of the details and then essentially put together a book for Riley. So,
It slotted in very well in between what snippets we got at the end of two and
mhm,
where three begins.
right.
There's essentially a lull that this fits in very nicely, and then it's one of those like so we've read three or I guess four depending on how you count, and yeah, it picks up nicely. It felt satisfying how it all slots together.
I agree with that. Um, for comparison, though, book one is 16 hours, book two, 18 and a half hours. Then this one, 2.5, is only 8.5 hours. And then book three or four, depending on how you count, 23 hours and 2 minutes. So it just flies right through. And Audible looks like it's all the way up to 5.5, but I was looking online and I think they have more than that in print. I could be wrong. Because, yeah, I'm counting a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books, including the side quests and the different storyline of where I goofed and read Ember the first time, which that focuses more on the fire starting zone. So that'll be interesting to go and do that arc.
That was another good thing that came out of the side quest, more fleshing out of the differing reasons you would follow each of the mana types.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a game world I would definitely enjoy playing in. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, so no fast travel that we know of yet, but serves a purpose.
I go on both sides of it. If I'm truly wanting to be immersed in a world, I would prefer not to have the fast travel. But a lot of times in MMOs, it's the grind, it's the race, it's hurry up and just optimize getting to quote unquote max level in end game. Um, so I can understand with the AI in the world being what it is to not want to take away from that immersion. Um, yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense in context. They haven't done a whole lot, but it feels like the world is kind of developing organically, or if you blow up something, it stays blown up. For example, the Twilight Throne completely overtook the city, and then now something new. And then, as we know, there's each of the elements eventually get their own capital, which then unlocks a specific race.
There's been a handful of games that have kind of tried to do that in recent years that I get really attracted to, where you truly have an impact on the world and, a bit more permanence and just all those pieces. Uh, it's a fun concept. It really is. It's one of the many reasons why we enjoy reading these types of stories, right? Is hopefully we live long enough to see tech on this level and game immersions in this level would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Currently, biggest limitation is just meat suits.
Very true. Very, very true. That and semiconductor shortages probably isn't helping the whole situation.
True.
But yeah, we'll not dive too deep into that as the different politics are ramping up. But yeah, good old semiconductors. Need them for everything, including our epic dive gear. Mwahaha. Oh, so yeah, looking forward to definitely finishing out the series. Definitely see why it's considered one of the OGs of LITRPG. Just skimming through again the Audible reviews. The first book has over 11,000 Audible reviews. So very, very well read, well respected. Um, Gosh, I think even this one has nearly a 5 stars on Audible, which is quite an accomplishment for a side quest. A lot of times those take the most negative feedback because everybody wants us to be continuing on the main storyline. So,
I oh The one I think that I enjoyed after the book, or, well, sorry, James A. Hunter, VGO, does a good job side quest wise for everybody's their own main character, and they kind of mesh together well.
Mm-hmm.
The S10 Online, the middle book, it was kind of like we were so invested in the main party, and then we had a side quest, but it involved very few elements that were relevant from the previous one. Like, it was cool because it engaged and developed more of the lore, and then that character did pop up later, but it was pretty disconnected. I enjoyed the book, but it's also probably because there's a lot of combat.
We do enjoy our combat, don't we?
Hey, Chaz.
Glad you could join us, buddy. But yeah, I know we've been looking forward to getting back on schedule for our streams, but this was a shorter book. What other key points did you want to touch on, Pete?
It was nice because of the change in pace. It wasn't as grindy. It was more lore oriented.
Yeah.
And then I enjoyed seeing the NPCs and how they're related and all the different things. I enjoyed the main city essentially being a game of snakes and ladders on steroids with Futurama tubes and, magic. I think the class Riley unlocks at the end was
pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Sorry, things just spinning for no reason. I think the class has a lot of opportunity.
Looking forward to seeing that happen in getting to see her use that in the big party with Jason and Frank. As well as the larger faction dynamics. We kind of got a little bit of a teaser with, keep wanting to say Fire Nation, but wrong franchise.
Yeah, and I guess that's another thing. This is like the Mage City, so it deals with the 4 elements. And, from other book titles that every element gets their own capital, unlocks their own race. So is this like Crossroads? I don't know. It just doesn't fit the theme of there can be only one.
At least for the faction. We know that this is close to the Dark Capital, quote unquote, the Twilight Throne. Because they walked there in what, like 2-ish days, give or take? Yeah. Yeah, that's where I was going with it too, Chaz. Chaz says I was going to say this has a Fire Nation, Soku. Oh, that's a show I'd appreciate going back and rewatching. Absolute classic. Absolute classic. Um, so yeah, final thoughts on the book, Pete, before we start plugging and letting everybody know that yes, we should be back on schedule as long as oh the higher powers play well.
Uh, Good addition to the series, and again, probably more so for a younger crowd. Fairly tropey, of course, sticks with the theme of LITRPG. A lot of unique elements as well, but yeah, was a good addition to the series, and looking forward to continuing it.
Same, same. This is a series that I've kind of had to hold back on, not going too deep on it because it's so hard not to slip up with the spoilers. Um, but yeah, a lot of fun. If you guys haven't checked it out, really appreciate you guys watching the stream. Anyways, definitely a lot of fun. And if you like the lit RPG space, it's should be on your TBR. That's for sure. That's for sure. So yeah, next Wednesday, what do we have?
For next Wednesday, going back to BGO, this is Doomforge. I can't remember which one this is. I want to say it's pretty deep, like 5 or 6. I haven't read it either, but this is another classic staple, and I would say the two kind of go hand in hand. And I guess this before, but between Awaken and BGO, they do similar things different, where BGO essentially it's more traditional lit RPG, isekai feel. Um, and then for AO, it's more the core development of the AI and learning to live with yourself.
Yeah, this is book 6. It looks like, and this is another one of the OGs of lit RPG. Highly recommended. Looking forward to getting current with this series and exploring the different side series. James A. Hunter is exceptional when it comes to collaborating with other authors. And I'm really looking forward to seeing other authors' takes on his universe and playing in that space.
Yep, very true. James is pretty quick on pumping stuff out and playing well with others. Then this one was a sneaky one. So, in Unwitting Prince, New Home by Sean Oswald, um, totally didn't know it was a thing because I was waiting for book 5 in his Life in Exile series, and this is book 5, but it's not book 5, and semantics, but yeah.
Yeah, I was right there with you. He's one of the authors that I try to follow pretty closely, and this is the same series that we recommended to Chaz actually if he was looking to get into the lit RPG space. And Chaz being an old school Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman fan will probably understand it a little bit better than the rest of us. I started out in Dragonlance, and Dragonlance does something similar where pretty much they'll have like a story arc, or where they pretty much stick to like a trilogy, and then the next trilogy is a continuation of the series, but they're standalones. So with An Unwitting Prince, A New Home, it's essentially saying, hey, this is our new home now. Like, we've accepted that this is our life. The first four, they basically are, quote, like in exile. And there's some other takes on, in exile being just the family. But by the end of those four books, like, they've accepted it, right? Like, we have pretty much taking over the one of the human kingdoms, and then the offspring and everybody kind of have their own lives going on. They have their own little village turning into, a crazy force, and just all the other factions at place. And yeah, you can pick up this book and start from here. So in that sense, I can see it as a new series, but it's truly book 5 in the series, but still a standalone series. Have you gotten a chance to listen to it yet, Pete?
So I started it and had an opportunity to finish it.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Love the author. He has a couple other series out there that I've wanted to check out. I think I've read one of his other books. But yeah, a lot of fun. We're still sticking with Wednesdays at 7 for now.
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah, we hope to see you guys next week at 7. If plans change, we'll let you guys know through social media, primarily Twitter. And we hope to have a couple more collaborations with other uh, booktube individuals here in the near future. We've been talking to a couple of people like Chaz and a few of our other friends. So keep throwing those book suggestions our way. Um, and yeah, we hope to geek out with you guys here soon. Bye.
Bye.